most years when I've done this, I have a pretty good idea well in advance of what I want to do, and so I have plenty of time to practice and get supplies together and the like. And this year, as we got into early December, I had a few ideas, but none really seemed quite right. At least I wasn't really enthused about it, and suddenly I just quite by accident stumbled across a YouTube video of something that gave me one of those aha moments. And I said, that's what I got to do. The only problem is it's already December. I've only got 2 months to figure out how this works, if I can get the pieces, put it together, make it work, and then learn how to play it. I'll let you be the judge of whether I succeeded, but it's not for lack of trying. I'm going to do a little demonstration of building the basic part of this instrument, and then I'll start with a normal piece of PVC pipe. This is 1/2 inch pipe. I bought it at Lowe's. In fact, the bag that says Lowe's is still here.
With script.
As a matter of fact, I did use script. I don't know how to do any other way. And a few other pieces of PVC pipe. Let's start with this T-junction here. It allows you to connect 3 different types of, or sizes, pieces of PVC pipe. And you can just fit one side into there. This is standard 1/2 inch pipe that just goes through both sides of the T. And since this is 3/4 inch pipe and this is a 1/2 inch pipe, the 1/2 inch will actually fit inside the 3/4 inch, and there's actually a little bit of air gap in the middle there so that there's room for air to move around. Now, those of you in the front can probably see I've got a little bit of rubber tape wrapped around this pipe. That's just so I can, when I scrunch them together, I can form a seal so that it fits tightly. So I've got this pipe running up the middle and the 2 ends come pretty much together. Now, if I were to blow into this part of the T, it's going to hit the inside pipe, so the air is going to fill that gap between the 2 pipes. It can't go out this way because I've got this rubber seal on this end, so the air is all going to shoot out this end. That doesn't make any noise, so we're not there yet. We need something, to make a tone, you need something to vibrate, to get the sound vibrating. And so what I'm going to use in this case is just a piece of this bag. You'll notice this bag has been cut up quite a bit along the way. So I'm going to just use a little piece of this thin plastic to create a membrane. And I'm going to put it over the end of these 2 pipes. And here I got a little fitting that I can just squeeze down on to hold it in place. Now the air is going to go in, still can't come out this end, goes up, hits that little plastic membrane, starts pushing it on it, it starts vibrating. The air, some of the air now is able to sneak through and come down the rest of the pipe. And in fact, the sound that it will make will be based on the frequency of those vibrations, and the frequency will be a function of how long this pipe is and what the wavelength is. So let's see if I can make this play a note, and it's going to take a little bit of adjustment probably to get there.
That was a nice note.
Nothing like being on stage to have things like All right, let's try another piece of plastic here. Believe it or not, I've never had that happen. Perfect. Yeah. There are all sorts of things I thought might go wrong in this demonstration, but that was not one of them. Again, it's kind of a delicate, I mean, obviously this piece of plastic is not very sturdy. The quality control is such that one piece is not exactly the same thickness as another, and so I found that it's not the most reliable thing around. Let's see if I can. I knew it would work eventually. So that's the note that you get if you play this length of pipe. Now, just if you had a longer piece of pipe, it would be a lower note, so I just have a little bit of extra length I'm going to push onto the end. So you can hear, here's the original note.
Whoa.
If I make it a little bit longer, you'll hear a slightly lower note.
Whoa.
length of pipe determines how much it's going to be. Yeah, so far so good. That's the basic mechanism. And in fact, I have a couple that I've already built that are pre-tuned to what I want them to be tuned to. Hopefully these will work. Here's one. This is actually a little shorter than it, so it should be a higher note. Okay. And here's the one that some of you saw sticking out of my case. It's a much longer, so it's going to be much lower. Okay, and those two are just about an octave apart in pitch. They were an octave earlier today. Whether or not they're still exactly an octave is a little hard to tell. That's the first part of this instrument. The other primary ingredient to this instrument is duct tape. One of my favorite things to use. And as it turns out, one thing you can do with duct tape is if you take two pieces and stick them sticky side together, you can create, it's like a piece of material. And it's pretty strong. And in fact, if you overlap each piece, you can make a fairly large piece of material with the colored side of the tape facing on both sides and the sticky sides coming together. And in fact, here's just a small piece of that sort of material that I made. I actually cut this off a bigger sheet. I made a big sheet of this about, well, this isn't duct tape, this is actually a dog food bag. It's about the right size, but Gail says it's a little easier to visualize. If you see something that I made a sheet of duct tape that was about this size. And if you take this, fold it in half like that, you've now got a fold on this side and three other ends that meet. And if I run duct tape and tape up the seams all across these three sides, I essentially can create a pouch that will hold whatever's inside it. And in fact, that's what I have done. I've created a duct tape bag, and some of you may starting to get an idea of where we're headed with this. Now, this is my duct tape bag. As it turns out, duct tape is very durable, but it springs leaks quite a bit, especially as it gets folded. So this has been resealed and resealed and resealed over the past month that I've been working on this. I've got, as you notice, a couple of little stubs of PVC pipe sticking out of this so that I can attach things to it. And I have them corked up right now. This particular pipe is open, so I can blow air into this bag. And it holds quite a bit of air, but of course if I let go of it, the air just leaks right back out because this is not plugged. So what I need to do is get something that will hold the air in there, and it just so happens you can blow, it's got a little trap door in it, so you can blow air through it in one direction but not the other. So if I were to blow air through this way, it'll go all the way through. But if I try to blow through this end, the trap door is shut and it won't go. So if I connect this to my bag, I can blow up the bag and the air won't escape through where I'm blowing it because of this valve. So, I'm not sure what this looks like.
It's like a pillow.
And if I let it sit long enough, the air will eventually leak out because there's still little tiny folds in the duct tape that's not holding it. But I can create a bag of air out of this duct tape. Well, let's do something interesting with it now. Let's start attaching some of these pipes to it. Here's the long one. So I just fit this right on here. And here's the smaller one, I'll fit this right on here. And let's just see what happens if I blow air through the Now you know the rest of the story.
Someone sing Amazing Grace.
Now, you know, you get into the two pitches and octaves there. These are actually called the drones of a bagpipe because they only play one note, and most bagpipes actually have 3 drones, but I ran out of patience. Two drones was enough to make my point. And you wouldn't believe how tricky it is just to get these two in tune and to stay in tune. And whether they'll still be in tune by the end of this presentation is anyone's guess. Okay, let's move on to the next step. We've got a bagpipe, but it only plays that one set of notes in octaves, so that's not very interesting. And we need something that will play a little more variety of music. And it just so happens.
A recorder.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
This is actually called a chanter. Same basic assembly as the other ones, but you'll notice I've got a number of holes drilled in here. I actually have more holes than I need because in tuning it, I drilled some in areas that just weren't quite in tune, so I just covered them up with duct tape. It's fairly easy to adjust if you have a drill on the time. If you need it higher or lower, just duct tape over one hole and drill it a little bit lower. And I thought at one point, well, maybe I'd finally figure out exactly how I want these holes measured. But it just seemed like from one day to the next, it changed. You know, there's just enough variation in this thing that you can't set it and forget it. So I decided it has certain charm with some of these holes covered over duct taped anyways. So hopefully this is still reasonably in tune. Let me see if I can just play a couple notes so you can hear. So it's a little out of tune. You know, I can get a little variation in pitch just by blowing harder or softer on this to make it a little better in tune. And of course, you know where this is headed. I'm going to connect this to the bagpipe, and at that point, controlling how much air is going through any of these pipes is pretty tough. So there's the point at which further fine-tuning is just ridiculous. So let me try putting this into place. How are we doing on time, Gail?
Got about 5 minutes more.
Okay.
You can all imagine how much our dog loves this.
Yeah, it got to the point where when I would practice this at home, the dog would go run in the laundry room and hide under the table. And in fact, I've never seen him so far into that corner. And he's fairly hard of hearing at this point. This didn't do it, but I would have thought for as difficult as he doesn't, if I say sit to him, he just looks at me like I'm moving my lips but nothing's coming out. So, but he obviously has not lost all of his hearing because he still hears this. And it doesn't, let me just twist this a little bit so I can get my hands around it. All right, this is a fairly unwieldy instrument to handle, which is why practice is definitely needed to master this instrument, and I have clearly not yet mastered it, but I can at least give you proof of concept. Let's see what I can get out of this. All right, here goes nothing.